Hi, good to see you again. This is the part 2 of the series of videos on the U.S. midterm elections. After the midterm elections, how will the party divisions of the U.S. Congress change? I'm Yu, your navigator in this channel. Today, we're going to see the current compositions of the U.S. House and the Senate and how many seats are necessary to win the majority in each chamber. Let's check it out. As usual, we are going to see the basics of the midterm elections. The topics for today are the related laws that decide the number of the seats of the Congress, how the numbers are decided, party breakdown in both chambers, the House of Representatives and the Senate, including how many seats are necessary for each political party to win the majority, and historical trend of midterm elections. First of all, let us take a look at the laws that stipulate the number of the seats in the Congress. Do you know how the number of seats of the U.S. House and the Senate is decided? We need to get back to the Constitution of the United States. Regarding the House of Representatives, the U.S. Constitution does not specify the number of the House members. It says in Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states which may be included within this union according to their respective numbers. This section was amended, and the 14th Amendment says, representatives shall be apportioned among the several states according to their respective numbers. The Constitution only mentions the maximum number of representatives per population and the minimum number in one state. The number of representatives shall not exceed 1 for every 30,000. But each state shall have at least one representative. The current number of seats, 435 in the House, was decided in 1929 by a law called the Permanent Apportionment Act. The procedure is like this. Each state receives one seat irrespective of the size of population, because it is required by the Constitution. One seat is automatically allocated to the 50 states respectively. So the total number of the seats in the House, 435, should be subtracted by 50, which makes 385. 385 seats are apportioned among the 50 states in accordance with population counts based on decennial national census. The latest census was held in 2020. Here is the list of the number of seats in all 50 states and the comparison between the old and new number of seats. The number of seats of California, for example, decreased by 1, but Colorado got one more seat. Florida's number increased by 1. Illinois and Michigan lost 1. New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania lost 1 seat. And Texas got 2 more seats. Each state redistricted the congressional constituencies. Now, what's the current party breakdown in the House of Representatives? There are 220 Democrats, 212 Republicans, and 3 vacancies. That makes 435, right? 2 of the vacancies were formerly taken by Democrats and 1 by a Republican. Now, let's see these figures in a chart like this. 218 or more seats are necessary to secure the majority. Currently, the Democratic Party is the House Majority Party by a margin of only 2 seats. You can't call it an absolute majority. It's easy to imagine how bruising the campaigns are. So in the midterm elections for the House, the Republican Party must win 6 more seats. Now you are seeing the simulation of a scenario that the Republican Party regains the majority. This is just a simulation. I'm not sure if this truly is going to happen. Let's take a look at the Senate. The number of seats in the Senate, unlike the House, is clearly mentioned in the U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 3, Clause 1. The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state. Crystal clear. So the number of senators is 100. There are 50 Republicans, 48 Democrats, and 2 independents. But the independent senators caucus with the Democrats. So in the Senate, the number of Democrats is virtually 50. The number of the Democrats and the Republicans are the same. To win the majority in the Senate, the Republican Party needs 51 and Democratic Party needs 50. Why? Vice President Kamala Harris, a Democrat, is the President of the Senate. Again, here is the Constitution, the part that explains the role of Vice President. The Vice President of the United States shall be President of the Senate, but shall have no vote unless they be equally divided. She casts a tie-breaking vote. But a midterm election is a little tricky. As we saw in the Part 1 video, only 1/3 of the seats are contested in the midterm elections. Let's review the rule of Senate elections. The senators are divided into 3 groups: Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3. And in this year's midterm elections, the 34 seats of Class 3 are contested. And also, a special election is to be held in Oklahoma. So in total, 35 seats are contested. Let's see the party breakdown of the Senate. This bar chart shows the party breakdown of the Senate. Democrats and independents make 50. And there are 50 Republicans. But 34 Democrats and 2 independents, that is 36 senators, don't face the elections this year. And 29 Republican senators don't face elections this year either, because they belong to either Class 1 or Class 2. It means 14 seats of Democrats and 21 seats of Republicans are up for election. That's the breakdown of the 35 Senate seats contested this year. Next, let's see the history of midterm elections. In the modern history of the midterm elections, there has been a sort of pattern. Midterm election is something like a referendum on the incumbent president. Voters are harsh on incumbent president's performances. And most of the incumbent president's parties have lost the seats, and the opposition parties have gained seats in the last decades. In the midterm elections after the World War II, only two presidents' parties gained seats in both chambers. Now you are seeing the list of the results of the midterm elections with presidents' names on the far left. And the next column is the party the presidents belong to. Of course, D stands for Democratic Party and R means Republican Party. The next column is the results of House elections. And the far right column is the results of Senate elections. The gray cells are the elections in which the president's parties lost seats. And the gray cells with a red explosion icon is the elections that changed the majority party. The yellow cells are the elections that the incumbent president's parties gained seats. Most recently, in the midterm elections in 2002, President George W. Bush's Republican Party gained seats in both the House and the Senate. It was a year after the September 11 terror attacks, so you can say the nation was united under the leadership of President Bush. And in 1998, President Clinton's Democratic Party gained seats in both chambers. During the World War II, when Franklin D. Roosevelt was the president, his Democratic Party gained more seats as a result of the 1934 midterm elections. President Theodore Roosevelt's Republican Party also increased the number of both House and Senate members. But 1902 midterm elections were held after the quorum, the number of the representatives increased. So the president's Republican Party and Democratic Party both gained seats. The Democratic Party gained more seats. You can't say it was a victory of the Republican Party. Let's see more results in the list. There have been several midterm elections. The incumbent president's parties gained seats in the Senate. But the history tells us that it's been difficult for the incumbent president party to gain seats in the House. And the current party breakdown indicates that the majority party could change with just a few gains of seats. This is the reason why this year's midterm elections are drawing more attention than the previous ones. In the next video, we're going to look into the polls and forecasts. Thank you for viewing this video. I'm Yu. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Thank you in advance. Bye.